my.
What is up, YouTube? This is Nanashi with a brand new deck profile video, but once again it is not one of my own, but another special guest. A guy by the name of MellowFellowVA, or Mellow for short, has been a fan of my videos for a while now and actually wanted me to do a profile video on his Aroma plant tech deck. I've been curious about how the Aromages themselves operate for a long time, but given how undersupported the archetype appeared to be, I honestly didn't think there was a way to make them work as they were. And even mixing in a few plants here and there didn't seem to do very much for me, but he found a way to make it work for him, and I am definitely impressed with it. So, without further ado, here is Mellow.
Hello there everyone, my name's Mellow, and I'm going to be showing you all my Aroma deck. Now, before we start, I'd like to just say thanks to Nanashi for letting me do this, and I'd just like to apologise for the really awkward camera angle, but I do not have a stand to speak on, so yeah, let's begin. So, starting off, I run 3 Aroma Seraphie Angelica, sorry. So, Angelica is the main tuner of the deck, and I have updated this for links, so if you're worrying about that, don't worry, but Aroma monsters only usually ever summon one synchro monster at a time. So anyway, Angelica acts like a hand trap. So during either player's turn, you discard it from your hand to target one Aroma monster in your graveyard, and you gain life points equal to that Aroma monster's attack. And if your life points happen to be higher than your opponent's, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, but it is banished when it leaves the field. You can only use its effect once per turn. So it's a level 1 tuner. The archetypal synchro monster is level 5, we'll get onto later, but anyway, moving on, we have 2 of Aromage Jasmine. I apologise for the glare, but this is the best I can do. So Aromage Jasmine is your main draw power. So during your main phase, if your life points are higher than your opponent's, you get an extra normal summon for plant type monsters. And once per turn, so the soft once per turn, whenever you gain life points you draw a card. It gives the deck a lot of draw power, especially when you got both on the field. Now we're running 2 of Aromage Kananga. Aromage Kananga is your back removal, but it's not very good at that. But its main effect, so when your life points are higher than your opponent's monsters, like all of their monsters, lose 500 attack and defense, which is a pretty hefty drop. And since you're going to be having higher life points anyway, so you're lowering all of your opponent's monsters by 500 attack and defense, which is really nice. Now we have the level 4 Aromage Rosemary. Now Aromage Rosemary is the highest attack point monster out of the level 4s and lowers. They do have 1 tribute monster, but you don't have to tribute it. If your life points are higher than your opponent's, if a plant type monster attacks, they can't activate monster effects. So that means they can't activate No Honests, and poor Nanashi can't activate his Gusto effects. So yeah, but the once per turn effect, so when you do heal, Rosemary flips a monster on the field's battle position. Oh, sorry. But this effect is mandatory. You do not have a choice. You have to flip something. Anyway, moving on, we have our level 6 Aromage Bergamo. So when your life points are higher than your opponent's, if a plant type monster attacks a defense position monster, do piercing damage. And the life point gain effect, so when you gain life points, this guard gains 1000 attack and defense. So it becomes a massive beat stick if you happen to heal that turn. Next we move on to our last Aroma monster. We have Aroma Jar. Weirdly a rock type, but we don't really care. It's a flip monster, so when this card is flipped face up, it cannot be destroyed by battle while it is face up on the field. And if this card was flipped face up during each player's turn, you gain 500 life points. So it's kind of like the anti-Marshmallow. You heal rather than deal damage to your opponent. But since the Link, we're so early into the Link era, where there's not much, where everyone's going to be forcing themselves to be playing Cyberse at this day and age, where they don't really have good monster removal, Aroma Jar can just sit there and just heal you at the end of every end phase, so just either players. So that's good. So our other tuner lineup, I'm running 2 Twilight Rose Knight. Unfortunately, I do not own these yet, because apparently nobody seems to own these and or be willing to trade it. But anyway, Twilight Rose Knight is a level 3 Dark Warrior type, and his effect is when he's normal summoned, you get special summon a level 4 or lower plant type monster from your hand. So that is incredibly useful, since you can do up to level 7 synchro plays off of just one card. So that's pretty nice. He also has a second effect of not having plant type monsters be targeted for attacks, but still, that's alright. Next to our other tuner, we have 1 Spore. Now, everyone should be very familiar with Spore, but if you're not, if this card is in the graveyard, you can remove from play 1 other plant type monster in graveyard, and you add its level to this card. But it says remove from play after you use this effect. You're going to use the effect of Spore once per duel, but you only have 1, so who cares about that? So Spore is your go-to to the higher level synchros of the deck, which is going to be level 7s and 8s, which you can usually get to, but it's fine. Next we have one Angel Trumpeter. It's just a vanilla plant tuner with 1900 attack. It's pretty nice. It's a level 4, so you can go up to those higher plays if you're willing to use your normal summon for it. Next we have a mini Floodgate. We have Cactus Bouncer. This card was recently reprinted in Battle of Legends, and I'm so glad, because this used to be like a £30 to £40 card, or like $40 to $50. So I'm so glad, and it's just dropped down to like 1. So this card cannot be special summoned, so you can't use it with Twilight Rose Knight. But while you control another plant type monster on the field, if there's another plant type monster on the field, neither player can special summon monsters. So while you have this card and Bergamo out, they're going to be scared of throwing stuff into attack mode to run into this, even though it's got like an 1800 body, which is pretty nice. This thing is going to be annoying. This thing is really, really annoying to your opponent, since everything special summons nowadays, especially with the advent of Link format and needing to special summon in order to do plays. So you just kind of lock your opponent out of doing those plays, or have to waste a Dark Hole or a Raigeki just for this card. And we are running 3 Lone Fire Blossoms. Lone Fire Blossom is very self-explanatory. Once per turn, you contribute 1 face-up plant-type monster on the field, special summon 1 plant-type monster from your deck. So it can be itself, and it can be another plant-type monster in the deck. This is your main way of getting out your Aromages. Since Bergamo is a tribute, and Jasmine you don't want to be normal summoning an attack. So it's pretty nice. And finally, we have a hand trap, Ghost Ogre. Yeah, I know not many people are fond of Ghost Ogre, but it's just nice to have, because if your opponent has a really problematic monster you want to get rid of immediately, who's just activating its effect, just get rid of it. You can also use it while on the field, so if you were desperately needing a tuner. Now, moving on to the spells. We're running 3 of the field spell, Aroma Garden, because what deck isn't using 3 of their field spells nowadays? Jokes aside, Aroma Garden is a once per turn effect. If you control an Aroma monster, you can gain 500 life points, and also all monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense until the end of your opponent's next turn, even if the card leaves the field, which is nice. So everything gets a 500 attack point boost, Rosemary reaches 2300, Bergamo goes to 3900, which is amazing. It's amazing. It runs over most things, because you need a boss monster in order to run over Bergamo with attack. And its second effect, if a face-up Aroma monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you gain 1000 life points. So even if you get Raigeki'd or a Dark Hold while you have 2 or more Aroma monsters, that's still 1k to 5k life points you're going to be healing off of Aroma Garden, which could shield you from an attack, so you could continue your plays. Next up, we have 1 terraforming. I don't see the need of running more than 1 terraforming, because, well, you're going to be drawing into it anyway. And the searching in the deck can thin out your deck so you can draw into it. So I'm okay with just 1 terraforming. Next we have 1 Poison of the Old Man. Self-explanatory. A quick heal or a quick damage. So, oh hi dog. So quick heal or quick damage on your opponent to, you know, activate your effects and such. Now we have My Body as a Shield. My Body as a Shield. When your opponent activates spell or trap card or monster effect that would destroy a monster on the field, pay 1500 life points, negate the activation if you do destroy it. Life point costs do not matter to this deck, since you're going to be healing it anyway. Next we have Mark of the Rose. Mark of the Rose is a plant-type brain control. What can go wrong? So you banish 1 plant-type monster and you equip this card to an opponent's monster and you take control of it, and then on your end phase you give it back. But then, on your next standby phase, you take it back from them. This is to steal your opponent's monsters to either tribute, synchro, or link with them. And your opponent is not going to be very nice when their boss monster gets taken. So next we have 1 Dark Hole, you destroy your monsters. Soul Charge to regain field presence. Also, life point cost don't matter to this card. Then we have 1 Scapegoat. I've misplaced my Scapegoat and I don't know where it is. But Scapegoat is your go-to link play. Since it summons 4 tokens and you could just summon them all on your opponent's end phase. So you can still normal summon that turn. So then you have Mystical Space Typhoon to clear away that back row. And that's enough with the spells. Now we move on to our traps. We're running 2 of Humid Winds and 2 of Dried Winds. I'm going to do these 2 together since they are basically go hand in hand. So starting off, we have Humid Winds. So you can pay 1,000 life points, add 1 Aroma monster from your deck to your hand. And if your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can gain 500 life points. You can only activate each effect of Humid Winds once per turn. So Humid Winds searches out half your monsters, which is really nice and could scare your opponent into having to destroy it. And then we have Dried Winds. Dried Winds goes in tandem with Humid Winds and anything that heals, because when you recover life points, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it. But its second effect is pretty devastating. Think of it as a not as extreme Utopia Prime. So if your life points are at least 3,000 higher than your opponent and you control the Aroma monster, you can pay the difference, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls, whose combined attack is less than or equal to the life points you paid. So let's say your opponent has 3 2,000 attack point monsters. If you pay 6,000 life points, because you're going to be having a lot of life points, just wipe the board. Completely wipe the board clean. It's nice, but sometimes it doesn't work. You're only going to be using its first effect, which is when you gain life points, destroy a thing. Now we move on to our next trap. 1 Solemn Wishes. Solemn Wishes, whenever you draw a card, gain 500 life points. So in the deck, you're going to be having a lot of draws, thanks to Jasmine, and having more life points is incredibly useful to the deck. Then we have Blazing Mirror Force. Blazing Mirror Force, you don't care about the consequence, because with Blazing Mirror Force you're wiping the opponent's field and making them take damage equal to half of their combined attack points. So you're going to be dealing at least 2,000 damage on a full board. And next up we have Fiendish Chain, stop anything spooky, and then Bottomless Trap Hole. And self-explanatory. And that's it for the traps. Now on to the extra deck. We're running 1 of the archetypal synchro, Aromaseraphy Rosemary. So, Aromaseraphy Rosemary, when your life points are higher than your opponent's, all plant-type monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. It's level 5, so it can be it's supposed to be summoned, like the archetypal summon is supposed to be through Angelica and Rosemary, so that's why they kind of look like a fused version. and then once per turn, if you gain life points, you can negate the effect of one face-up monster your opponent controls. Well, no, face-up card, so you could stop a lot of things from activating their effects. So that is pretty nice. Then we have one Tatsunoko, allows you to sync from your hand. It's pretty nice. Then we have one Mistbird Clausulus. Clausulus makes one problematic monster into a direct attack, basically. It negates the effect and reduces their attack points to 0. Then we have Queen of Thorns, which is like a mini floodgate. So if your opponent normal or special summons from their hand, they have to each player pays 1,000 life points for each normal or special summon from their hands, except plant type monsters. So most decks nowadays don't use plant type monsters, so they're going to be paying at least 1,000 life points per turn just to continue their plays. We have one Ancient Fairy Dragon. You have a field spell. You can special summon from hand pretty easily, and it gives you extra healing. You can even replace your field spell after you've used it. So then we have Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon, with Synchro Summon, you can just nuke the board. But you can actually use the second effect in this deck. So once per turn, you can banish one plant type monster from your graveyard, then target one defense position monster your opponent controls, change that target to face up attack position, and then its attack becomes 0 for the end of the turn. And then we have Ancient Sacred Wyvern, the ultimate beat stick of the deck. For those who don't know, it is non-generic. It requires a light monster, but you have Angelica for that. And Bergamo is a level 6, so you might not have trouble summoning it actually. So while your life points are higher than your opponent's, this card gains attack equal to the difference, and if this card is destroyed by battle, you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon it. This thing is not going to get run over, for certain, unless this effect gets negated. So then we have the manga variant of Ancient Fairy Dragon, Ancient Pixie Dragon. Now, Ancient Pixie Dragon's effect is when you activate a field spell, or its effect activates, you draw a card. And then, just so you can use this effect of Pixie Dragon once per turn. And then once per turn, you can target one face-up attack position monster your opponent on the field, but it's usually going to be what your opponent controls, and destroy it. There must be a field spell on the field for this effect to resolve. Most of the time, Aroma Garden is going to be on the field, and you're not going to be saying otherwise. Then we have Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. Moonlight Dragon, when it's special summoned, or a level 5 or higher monster is special summoned to your opponent's side, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. Pretty nice. Then finally, for the Synchros, we have Thought Ruler Archfiend, a level 8 generic. So when this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the grave, you gain life points equal to the original attack. It's pretty nice. So now we have the Link monsters. We have a proxy of Proxy Dragon. Well, Proxy Dragon has not released yet as of this date, but it's coming in the Mega Tins. So that is just very short down the line. But Proxy Dragon's effect, if a monster on the field would be destroyed, you can destroy one monster this card points to. It points to the left and the right, if you didn't know. There's 1400 attack and is a Link 2. Then we are running Double Decode Talker. So this card gains attack for everything it's linked to. And if a card or effect activates from your opponent that would target a monster you control, you contribute one monster this card points to, negate the activation, and destroy it. Unfortunately, you cannot tribute your opponent's monsters. And finally, we have Firewall Dragon. I do not yet have Firewall Dragon because that is a very expensive card as of right now. But since it is a main character's ace, it's going to be reprinted like 1,000,000 times. It's going to be like nothing in like Star Pack 2018 or something. So Firewall Dragon, during either player's turn, you can bounce as many cards on the field or graveyard back to the hand equal to the amount of monsters this card points to. But it can only be activated once while it's face up on the field. So Firewall bounces. 2500, Link 4, points up, down, left and right. But its second effect is, if a monster it is linked to is destroyed, you can special summon another one from your hand to, you know, replace it somewhat. I don't know if this works on your opponent, but I'm guessing it does. Yeah, like if you have space. So anyway, that is the Aroma deck, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.
And this has been Nanashi, signing out.
What's the next stage? What's the next stage?